Have you ever heard of a battle that was fought beneath the burning sands of the desert, yet almost no one remembers it today? This is the forgotten story of a clash that shaped history yet remained hidden in the shadows of time. Centuries ago, in the heart of North Africa, two powerful forces met in a desert valley. The heat was merciless, the air shimmered, and thousands of men marched forward, knowing that most of them would never return home. For the armies of Rome and Carthage, the struggle was more than just a fight for land. It was a fight for survival, for faith and honor. The unforgiving landscape itself was a weapon, while thirst, hunger, and exhaustion claimed lives even before the swords could. Now imagine yourself there, standing in the hot desert wind, watching soldiers in heavy armor slowly making their way across the dunes, their lips cracked, their throats dry, but their hearts burning with determination. Every step on that sand was like stepping into fire, and then it began. The sound of drums, the clash of steel, dust rising so high that day turned into night. Horses charged, arrows darkened the sky. The cries of the wounded echoed across the desert. Welcome to Past Unseen, where we bring you the most spectacular battles from human history. Today we explore the forgotten battle beneath the desert sands. Our first images of Roman soldiers marching through the desert come from old paintings and sculptures. We see men in shining armor, some on horseback, others marching in formation. They're carrying shields and spears, ready to fight. These artworks show us how important these desert battles were to Rome. The Romans were great at creating strong weapons and armor. They knew that if they wanted to win against the enemy in the desert, they needed special equipment. For example, they made helmets with long face guards to protect against attacks from hidden enemies. They also created special glass helmets so soldiers could look around easily without getting hurt. In battle, Roman soldiers were organized and disciplined. They marched together in groups, attacked as a team, and followed orders from their leaders. Discipline meant everyone stayed in line and did their duty. When they went into battle, discipline helped them fight better as a unit. Without it, they might have easily lost to their enemies. Roman soldiers also used clever strategies to beat their enemies. They studied the land, tried to know their opponents, and planned carefully before attacking. This helped them use their limited water and supplies wisely. They set up camp in areas with shade and dug holes to collect rainwater. These camps were like small cities with tents, workshops, and places to store supplies. Soldiers stayed there while on missions or between battles. Life in the desert was tough, especially for the Roman soldiers. Staying cool, preventing muscle cramps, and fending off attacks were daily challenges. Back in Rome, people probably thought the desert was a simpler place, but it was really a dangerous and unpredictable environment. The desert was not just sand dunes and endless views. It was full of hidden dangers. Bandits, thieves, and other rivals could attack unexpectedly. Staying safe required constant attention and caution. Desert survival depended on managing water. Soldiers had to carry enough water for themselves and their animals. If they ran out, they could get very sick or die. They also faced the harsh weather, sandstorms, extreme heat, and biting winds. It tested their endurance and added to the difficulties of fighting battles. Victories in the desert were hard to achieve. Battles in the desert were not like those in other places. They were brutal and very intense. Limited water and the harsh setting made it harder for soldiers to fight. Victories were celebrated with pride because they showed skill and bravery in the toughest conditions. After winning a battle in the desert, soldiers felt a great sense of accomplishment. Now let's talk about one of Rome's greatest enemies in the desert, Hannibal Barca. He was a brilliant military leader who led armies from Carthage across the Alps into Italy. The goal was to surprise and defeat the Romans in their own territory. Hannibal and his troops achieved several victories, which shocked and worried the Romans. His elephants played a key role in battles, intimidating the Romans and causing significant losses. Despite the challenges, Roman commanders like Publius Cornelius, Scipio Africanus, found ways to counter Hannibal's tactics. They studied their enemy, learned from defeats, and adapted their strategies. Eventually, at the Battle of Zama, Rome defeated Hannibal's army. This marked a turning point in the war and contributed to Rome's ultimate victory over Carthage. The Battle of Coron Sabus was a clash between the armies of Rome and Carthage during the Second Punic War. The year was 200 BC and the location, a hilly region near the modern-day city of Tunis in Tunisia. Hannibal Barca, the brilliant Carthaginian general, was leading his army, including the famous war elephants, against the Roman forces led by the skilled Roman general Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus. The battle was part of a larger conflict where Hannibal had already caused significant damage to the Romans, having crossed the Alps with his army and achieving victories in Italy. However, the tide of the war began to turn at Coron Sabus. The Roman army was superior in numbers and discipline. They utilized their traditional manipula system, a flexible and adaptable military formation that allowed them to change tactics based on the situation. On the other hand, Hannibal's army, though smaller, consisted of elite troops, including the Numidian cavalry, renowned for their speed and agility, and the terrifying war elephants. The battle was fierce and neither side gave ground easily. The Carthaginians used their elephants to great effect, causing havoc among the Roman ranks. Yet the Roman soldiers, well-trained and equipped with superior weaponry, fought back fiercely. One of the highlights of the battle was the confrontation between Hannibal and Scipio. These two legendary generals, each representing their respective armies, were engaged in a duel, a display of individual skill and leadership amidst the chaos of war. Although accounts differ, tradition holds that Scipio's sword broke, forcing him to use a dagger to finish Hannibal, who eventually fled the battlefield. The battle ended in a decisive Roman victory. Hannibal's army was routed and many of his troops, including his war elephants, were killed. The consequences of the battle were far-reaching. It marked a turning point in the Second Punic War, weakening Carthage's position and paving the way for Rome's eventual triumph in the conflict. The Second Punic War was a pivotal moment in ancient history, fought between Rome and Carthage from 218 to 201 BC. This conflict was one of the most intense and far-reaching battles of the ancient world. It pitted the growing power of Rome against the established dominance of Carthage, setting the stage for Rome's rise to become the dominant Mediterranean power. What do you think of the strength of the Roman Empire? Let us know in the comments. After the Romans defeated Hannibal's army in the Battle of Zama, Rome began to expand its empire rapidly. They controlled North Africa, including parts of modern-day Egypt, Libya, and Tunisia. This region was important for trade and had valuable resources like grain, gold, and silver. The Romans built roads, farms, and cities in their conquered lands, bringing Roman culture and rule to new territories. As Rome grew, it encountered different cultures and religions, including those of North Africa. While Rome respected some local customs, it also tried to spread its own culture, which sometimes led to conflicts and resistance from the native peoples. The Roman Empire reached its peak under the rule of Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. During this time, the empire stretched from Egypt to Britain and from Spain to Syria. It was a vast and diverse realm that included many different cultures and territories. But as the empire grew, it faced challenges such as maintaining control over distant provinces, dealing with threats from outside the empire, and managing the complexities of a diverse and extensive empire. As time passed, the Roman Empire split into western and eastern halves. Both empires continued to grow and develop their own unique characteristics, languages, and cultures. As we journey through this remarkable historical account, remember to stay tuned for more updates. Don't miss out on exploring more fascinating stories from human history.